How we doing, good people? Welcome to another episode of Cutting Up with David. We appreciate you guys tuning in, and we have a very exciting episode for you guys today. Today it's beautiful out here in Houston, Texas. It's about 85, going to be 90 degrees today, and we're going to get out there on the Traeger smoker today. Today we're going to be doing a pulled pork slider sandwich with a Jicama Slaw with Mexican street corn, and we're gonna give you guys an exciting dessert today. We're going to be doing apple cobbler on the Traeger today, so we can show you that we can make anything on that Traeger. It's really amazing, it's really efficient, and it's nice to get a touch of smoke on anything you want to eat. So let's get started here. We got our pork shoulder. This is the bone-in butt portion of it. It is a butt, yeah, because it doesn't have the little end side. So the shoulders consisted of two pieces. You have the butt and you have the picnic end. I tend to lean towards the butt. It's a little bit easier to deal with, and it has a nice little fat cap on there that I love. Melts away, and it has a lot of intermuscular fats, and it has a lot of tubing, so different parts of the muscle. Very tender, real nice pieces. Once you cook it down, get it to about 200 degrees. So let's go ahead and slice this open and pat it dry. Really easy to deal with, not too hard to mess up, so as long as you do it right, it's really easy to do, so I really recommend it for first-time smokers. And it's just a good cut of meat. You can do whatever you want with it. You can do whatever flavor profile you want to do with it. You can really, the pork will take it on. So I always recommend that. So I pat it dry. I don't ever rinse my meat. It's just an easier way to spread contamination. So it's better just to pat it dry. And now you got a nice dry piece of meat. Get some more paper towels over here. All right, so here you go. You have your pork shoulder, butt end. You see all the different tubing. You can actually separate it into two different pieces. I don't recommend it. It cooks very well by itself. But you see all the different tubings and things. If you wanted to inject it, you could. You make sure you get in between all the different muscles and stuff like that. You got your bone right here. By the end of the cook, this should be able to pull out. So it'll be pull the bone clean out. With no problems. We have the fat cap here. Some people trim this off. I like to leave it on. It really adds flavor, and what I do is I'll show you is I actually cut past it. I cut little squares into my meat. That way the rub can penetrate the meat, and also you get these nice little crispy bits on top. So you want to, rub around your meat, feel for any loose bones. Sometimes there's loose bones, hard fat that won't break down. So rub around. This piece right here is just going to be a nuisance. So let's go ahead and trim that off. We got a little piece right here that's just going to burn off. Get rid of that. But other than that, I'm not going to do too much to this shoulder. I love all the fat here will break down. A little bit right here, that's just a little gnarly piece. Take that off. All these pieces you think will break off. We're gonna really pound this shoulder out. We're gonna cook it to 200 degrees. We're gonna break down all this tendon and fat, so that's why I like to leave it on. Sometimes you'll see some little blood lines they left in. If you can cut it out, go ahead. If not, you got some hard tendons here that you can kind of get out of there. Also, sometimes you even find some loose bones, so really rub your meat down. Make sure you feel everything. All that looks like it'll break down, but right here you see the seam. It's almost like a brisket. It's connected by some fat. You can go at that and split it, but I leave mine together. It's just easier to do it that way. So with the pork shoulder, I like to slice into the top. That way the spices will penetrate the meat and the smoke will get past this fat cap. I want to leave this fat cap on to keep the juiciness and the moistness in the pork. So I leave it on, but I cut just past it so the smoke and the spices can penetrate the meat. So I'll show you guys how I do that. I just go straight across, try to do 4 slices. Get as deep as possible just to get past that fat. I'm hitting the bone here, so I won't go too much further. You don't want to go all the way through, but just enough to get past that fat cap, and you'll see right here, just right past that fat cap, we're hitting bone over here. That bone goes through almost this whole pork shoulder, so that's going to be kind of a nuisance. All the meats are different. We're going to want to cook this to, let's say, about 200 degrees, but if I see it and it's not, pro tender, you got to keep it going. Not all the meats are the same. Not all of them are going to cook at the same time. You just have to be patient and just kind of learn by seeing and doing and touching and feeling. It's all different. None of them are the same. You're not going to cook every single pork shoulder to 200 degrees. Some might be done at 195. Some might take to 210. Some might stall out at 170 for 2 hours. Who knows, And that's when you wrap it. You do the little Texas crutch, wrap your meat, and push past that that stall out, especially if you're cooking for a get-together or a party or something. So as you can see, I'm just putting some cross cuts into here, and these are going to be some gnarly bits of crispiness. I mean, this is my favorite. This is what I love doing. This is, when I was making pork carnitas, I implemented this when I was making pork carnitas with the pork shoulder on the smoker, and I just loved how the meat came out and how crispy and beautiful these little notches came in, and just tasted the smoke all the way through the meat, that I just started implementing it in my cooks from now on. So normally, I'll cook this pork shoulder inside of a pan. Less mess, less cleanup in the grill, and you're still going to get smoke all around. So that's what we're going to do. Also, it makes cleanup a little bit easier as well. Season it in the pan, leave it in the pan, cook it in the pan, cooks it in its own juices, and you kind of make your own sauce within there. You'll see what we do later on with that. What we're going to season this pork butt with is one of my favorite seasonings. It's going to be John Henry. It's a local Houston company. Really nice guy. I met him when I went there. Nice family, great people. So I really recommend John Henry's. I did a mixture here. I usually use their Texas pig rub, but I really, really love their pecan rub. Their pecan rub is absolutely amazing. The flavor is great, and we're gonna cook this with some pecan wood and apple wood mixture. So what I did with this rub, I mixed up some of my John Henry favorites. I did the Texas pig rub with the pecan rub and the apple rub. Equal parts, all three. And then I also threw a dash of the jalapeno because I really enjoy the pecan hot. And I'm pretty sure what they do is just mix up the pecan and the jalapeno to make the hot. And I didn't have any left. So I try to get the flavor profiles, and we'll see if that works out. It's just pressing it in. You're going to rub all the goodness off of the meat. Season all ends of it. You don't want to miss anything. There's a lot of meat. You want to season every bit of it. You want to get this flavor penetrating it. With my shoulders, I marinate maybe an hour, half hour before putting them on. I don't do the whole overnight process unless I'm doing like a wet marinate. So like if I'm doing like pork carnitas and I'm throwing it in a bag of OJ and lime to really tenderize it. With this, I'm throwing the rub on, letting it get on there and caramelize and get nice and candied is what I like to say. And you'll see how this rub just candies on top of this pork. It's absolutely amazing. Once it gets nice and candied, which takes about 30 minutes or so, let it get to room temperature. We'll throw this on the smoker at 225, making sure we're getting in all the crevices here and making sure we're candying up this top here. It's going to look great. It's going to taste great. So let's go ahead. We're going to let this sit for about 30 minutes. Let this shoulder get to room temperature. And then, like I said, we're going to throw it on at 225. We're going to cook it for 12 hours. We're going to cook it in the pan. We're going to take this thing off once it hits an internal temperature about 165, or I look at the color and I think it's where I need it to be. And then we're going to do what I like to say is the sauce. I like to put a little brown sugar, a little honey, a little butter. I'll show you guys how to do that. That's really, and then you wrap up the pork and push it past that whole time. So tune back in and we'll be on the smoker. Like I said, we're going to cook it right in the pan. Easy cleanup, no mess. Pop it in there. Put our thermometer meat probe in here. Now I remember the blade bone here was running a little long and a little long this way. So I'm going to put it just in between these cuts right here and push it through. You want to make sure you remember that because you don't want the thermometer hitting a bone. You're going to get a false reading and not know the correct temperature. And also you don't want to hit the pan as well because you'll get the same issue. So I got my apple juice pan right there. It needs to get refilled. I'll go ahead and refill that. And like I said, we're just going to leave this alone. We're not going to mess with it. We're not going to spritz it. And we're going to wait for 165 degree temperature. And then we'll go ahead and get the sauce ready for that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make a coleslaw. I love coleslaw and I love jicama. So I was like, why not combine them together? So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and make the dressing for the coleslaw. We're gonna start off with, give or take about a half a cup of Mexican crema. You can use sour cream, but I just really like the flavor of Mexican crema. It's less thick. Get that in there. We're gonna do about a half cup of mayonnaise. Any kind of mayonnaise, just not Miracle Whip. Right here. We're gonna do, what did I forget? Oh, milk. Need to put milk in here. We're gonna eyeball this, but we need about a quarter cup of milk. Looks about right. We're gonna add 2 tablespoons of regular sugar. We are gonna add some prepared horseradish. I like a lot of horseradish. I like it spicy, so I'm gonna put 2 tablespoons. We're gonna add some whole grain mustard. Let's do, I like the graininess from the mustard, so let's just say about a quarter cup of whole grain mustard. A teaspoon of celery seed. A little bit of salt. A lot of salt. Maybe about 2 teaspoons of salt. Some fresh cracked pepper. All right. Let's go ahead and mix this dressing up. This smells amazing. All right. Oh yeah. That horseradish slaw is going to be really good with this cabbage, carrot, and jicama. It's going to really enhance the flavor. Just to explain what a jicama is, it's really like, I always explain it as an apple. It's kind of like got an apple texture, but like a turnip kind of flavor. So I just say it's more like a Mexican turnip. So we got our dressing made. Let's go ahead and start putting the ingredients together here. So what we have here is about a half head of red cabbage, half head of green cabbage, I love using red onion, especially if it's going to go on pulled pork. So about a medium to small red onion, sliced really thin. Love red onion, one of my favorites. Let's say 2 to 3 carrots, matchsticked. Do that. And then about 1 medium jicama. Love jicama, yeah. So it's more like a Mexican turnip. This looks amazing. Let's go ahead and mix this up. We're also going to add cilantro, but that's after we let it sit in the fridge and marry a little bit. Let it brighten up. Oh man, this smells so good just by itself. Beautiful flavors. All right, we mixed that up. Let's get this back in the bowl here. I'm just going to hit it with a couple hits of lime. Really brighten up that jicama. I remember eating this as a kid. We would just eat it with lime, salt, and hot sauce by itself. It was very delicious. I get my kids to eat it now. They kind of started using it as a health food. They had those like little carrot wraps, and now they have like jicama wraps. Very good for you, high in fiber. So that's enough lime there. And then let's go ahead and pour the dressing over it. We'll do about half the dressing right now and see how much more you need. So let's get that folded in there. Oh yeah, this smells amazing. This is gonna be delicious. Yeah, I can tell once I hit it with that lime that the red onion and the jicama just, very fragrant, very fragrant. This is gonna be great on top of that pork shoulder sandwich. Oh yeah. So what we're gonna do is you wanna let this sit for at least an hour or 2 in the fridge, let it all get together, let it start percolating and getting good. So yeah, this feels good. I might just put a little bit more dressing because I like it creamy, but this would be good just like this. Oh, you know what I forgot? Actually, I don't know why I forgot this. One moment. I always like adding a little spice, a little kick to my coleslaw. You can leave this one out, but I should have, here we go. This is Texas. We have to have jalapenos. Texas has the best jalapenos. So this is, I think it's 1 jalapeno, not seeded, left everything in there. So let's go ahead and add that. I love jalapenos. These are great, especially in Texas. We have amazing jalapenos. Let's add a little bit more dressing. Oh man, this is gonna be good. You can just smell all the flavors, the mustard seed, the horseradish. It's gonna be kicking with the jalapeno. The jicama's gonna just cool you down with the cabbage. And just that fragrance from the red onion. It's a great mixture, especially for a slaw. You can even just have this as a salad. You can add some corn to it. Very good, very good. Healthy, minus, the sour cream and mayonnaise, but if you wanted to sub those out, you can sub out the sour cream with yogurt if you wanted to make it a little healthier, but it's good. All right, this is done. I'm gonna go ahead and put some plastic wrap over it and let it sit in the fridge for about an hour or two. Maybe a little bit longer until the pork's done, but I'm gonna try it after 2 hours and see if we need to add some salt and pepper, but I'm pretty sure we're good to go with this, all right? So tune back in, everybody. We got the pork shoulder off the smoker. It's at about 160. So what we're gonna do is come in here and make our little slurry. I like to put a little glaze on top of a pork shoulder before I wrap it. As you can see, we cooked it in the pan, and you can see this nice little crust and bark we have going on. You see how it's splitting away? Some of that smoke's getting in between the meat, right past the fat. So let's get started here. I'm gonna go ahead and put just a little bit more rub on there. Just a little bit on top. All right. And then we're gonna hit it with some brown sugar. Enough to cover it. I don't have an exact amount. I would say maybe half a cup or so. Just enough to get in those crevices. This is really, when we put this on here, I mean, it's going to make it like candy. And a lot of it's going to drip off the sides and make the sauce that we're going to use to cover the pork. I don't really like using barbecue sauces. I think if you make the meat properly, you should just be able to eat it by itself. I mean, you're going low and slow. So let the meat make its own sauce with all the seasoning so it all plays together. You start adding another person's sauce or something else, and it can change the flavor profile altogether. Now, if you're not putting too many seasonings, like there's a bunch of seasonings in here with the John Henry's and everything, then go ahead and use a sauce. But for me personally, this is how I like to do it. I like to create my own little sauce. We're going to put a little honey. We'll go back and forth just a little bit more. Boom, boom, boom. Looks good enough to eat now, huh? And then, normally, pitmasters will use parquet, but I think parquet is disgusting. I don't think anybody should eat it. So we're gonna use real butter. If we're gonna do it, we might as well do it right. So we're gonna add some globs of butter. I use about a half stick of butter total here. So just cover it, it'll melt. It'll work its way down and up and around. So there's no rhyme or reason to where I'm placing it. It's all going to work together. This will kind of help form your barbecue sauce. See, that was a little difficult to play with because it was already softened butter. So, all right. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap this bad boy up in some foil, and we're going to put it back on the grill. But we're going to turn it up a bit. We want to get this done. So I'm going to turn the grill up to 275. We're going to go a little hotter and see if we can get this done in the next few hours. That way we can show you what it looks like. So I'm really excited to show you this one. We're going to do a dessert on the Traeger. We got to get this one started because we got to let the apples caramelize a little bit before we start putting everything together. So what we're going to do is take 78 Granny Smith apples. We're going to peel it, core it, and slice it up. And then we're going to put some sugar and some cinnamon in there to let that get percolating, get it going, and start getting caramelized. So what I already did is we're going to do like a TV show. I already cut up the apples. What we're going to do is take 1 cup of light brown sugar. We're going to toss that in there. And we're going to take a teaspoon of cinnamon. So we're going to get these all mixed up, get these apples going, start getting caramelized. We're gonna let this sit for about 50 minutes to an hour and let some of that juice get forming, and then we can start pouring that into our cast iron skillet. You can make anything on this smoker. It's going to be great. This apple crumble is a nice little recipe. It's easy to make. As long as you get everything ready, it's just really just cutting up the apples is a lot of the hard part. So I recommend getting an apple corer. It's a lot easier to just peel them. You see that already looks great. You see how they're getting coated with the brown sugar. So let's go ahead and leave this. I'm going to put some saran wrap over this and put this in the fridge and let it sit for about 50 minutes to an hour. And we'll come back. I'll show you how we mix together the crumble. All right, people, we're back. This pork shoulder's ready to get pulled. We let it rest for about an hour. And let's take a look. Oh, man. Look at that color. So beautiful. And we have that nice juice at the bottom from the brown sugar and the honey and the butter that will just be kind of like our basting, kind of our own little barbecue sauce. So look at that. It just pulls. This bone's coming right out. Look at that. Wow. That's literally fall off the bone. That's how you make pork shoulder right there. That is beautiful. That's what you want to see right there. Just a clean bone. I mean, it is amazing. Oh, smells great. Tastes great. Wow. That's really good. All right. So when I get pulling it, I like to transfer it. I'm sorry, I'm eating and talking at the same time. All right, so when I like to go start pulling the pulled pork, I like to transfer it to a different dish. That way I don't splash a lot of that juice around. And we can get it nice and clean over here. So we just start moving it over. All good pieces here. Now we can separate it. I learned from an episode of Diner Drives and Dives. It's called pulled pork for a reason. One episode where the mother was sitting in the background and the son was going at the pulled pork with a knife, and she stopped him in the middle of the episode, said, no, son. They call it a pulled pork for a reason. You got to pull the pork. So you don't want to make this mush. You know, you have this nice little bark here. You just want to let it, I'm really just maneuvering it, you know. I'm letting it go where it needs to go, separating it, but I'm not making it mush. I'm not chopping it up with a knife. I'm just pulling it, maneuvering it, just nice little Wolverine claws I have here. It's not absolutely necessary. I just like it so I don't burn my hands. This is pretty hot. I got it off at about 200 degrees and let it rest for about an hour, and it's still piping hot. I mean, you can probably, hopefully you can see the smoke coming off of this. So I just like to use these things. It's easy, they're effective. But you can use forks, or if you're really gangster, you use your hands. So yeah, it was pretty funny. This old lady's just going at that hot pulled pork with her hands, and her son's looking at her like, yeah, I can't tell my mama nothing. So yeah, it was pretty funny. Yeah, she was pulling that hot pork with her hands. What I like to do is we take this nice juice that we formed from the honey and the brown sugar, and I just like to reinsert that right into the pulled pork here. This will act as our little, you know, little barbecue sauce. You can see it looks like barbecue sauce. Oh man, that looks great. It's nice and reduced down. Nice candy little caramelization. If you have a fat separator, you can use that. I'm kind of just doing it by eye. I think that's probably all I can get. But yeah, you put the fat separator in there, you take it out, separate the fat, and you got a nice little sauce you can try to reduce down. But that's it, man. This is ready for a sandwich. I don't like it pulled too much. You got your nice little bark bits right here. I'm going to try this. This looks amazing. Oh, man. Yeah, all the flavors. Oh, yeah, that's going to go great on a sandwich. So let's put this up. Let's put some foil back over this. And we'll put together our pork sliders when we have our coleslaw ready, our sandwich, everything ready to go. Go ahead and make the crumble for the apple cobbler. Very easy, very simple process. We got 2 cups all-purpose flour. And add that in here. 1.5 cups of table sugar. 1/2 cup of brown sugar. 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Make sure you get the aluminum-free one. They have some baking powders that have aluminum in them. Doesn't taste too good. You kind of get that metallic flavor. And a little bit of salt. maybe a little bit more salt. I like a lot of salt. Let's go ahead and mix this together here. Get it all incorporated. There you go. Now that's starting to look like a crumble there. This is very easy. We're going to put it on the Traeger at about 350 and wait till, it starts forming a little crust and getting brown around the edges. It should take about 50 minutes to an hour to start getting going. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add 2 beaten eggs. Make sure you beat them before you put them in. All right, let's get that incorporated here. Oh yeah, now we got a crumble forming here. There we go. Make sure you mix that up real good. Make sure you get a nice little crumble. It was very tasty, especially with the juice straining off the apples while it's caramelizing right now with the sugar and the cinnamon. This crumble is just going to absorb that and just have some beautiful apple flavor going on. So get that incorporated. All right. Looks like a crumble to me here. Alrighty, so now we got our crumble. We're gonna go ahead and start combining everything. We got our apples here. You can see they got nice caramelization. Got some juices on the bottom there. We're just gonna get this into a cast iron Dutch oven. Pre-seasoned cast iron Dutch oven. Like to use that on a smoker or anything. Gets high heat, holds the heat. It'll make it really, really nice and steamy. What I'm gonna add to this apple is just maybe just a tad bit of Mexican vanilla. It's really got a strong flavor, so you don't need too much. Just a dab will do you. Just to highlight these flavors a little bit. And I'm also going to use a vanilla ice cream to top it off with, so I think that'll play really nicely with all the different flavors we're adding it. So go ahead and add your apples to the Dutch oven. Make sure you get all the juices in there. Oh yeah, I can already smell that vanilla. This is going to be delicious. Scrape it in there. Sorry for the noise, but we need all this goodness. We waited the hour to get it. We need it. All right. Just spread this on the bottom here. Now make sure it's pre-seasoned so it doesn't stick to the bottom. You don't want to go grabbing one of your wife's skillets and go ruining it, because she'll cut you, man. Especially with the cast iron. Try that off here. All right, let's go ahead and start adding the crumble. Spread it over. Use my hands for this, but let's get it in there. Get it absorbing all the juices. Oh man, yeah. Look how that just absorbs right up in there. This is a pretty easy recipe. I mean, as long as you get everything put together, like I said, the longest part is probably just getting the apples peeled and ready to go. But like I said, if you got a core and a peeler and you're not doing it by hand, you should be good to go. Oh. All right. That looks like a nice even coat. I didn't end up using all the crumble, but that looks perfect. Now what we're going to do is I have a melted stick of butter here. We're just going to drizzle this around. Like getting on the edges. Look at that. Ugh. Almost looks good enough to eat now. But yeah, I'm a fat kid. I'll eat anything, especially a dessert. Oh yeah. Let's put this on the smoker and at 350, and we'll check it in 50 minutes. People, we are back and we are ready to start putting this sandwich together. All right, so we have our nice, beautiful brioche buns here, little slider buns. Shout out to Aldi for having a good price on the brioche buns. They're usually a little bit expensive, but definitely worth it. We've got our pulled pork here. Let's go ahead and give this a nice little, quick little toss. Oh man, that looks good. Still juicy, Pulled pork holds pretty well, so if you're going to a party, it's a nice little take in, especially because, you can let it sit for a while. Sometimes parties don't start when they say, or, the people hosting the party don't start cooking when they say they're going to start cooking. It's happened to me before. Had to have a brisket or a pork shoulder sit for 4 to 5 hours after the time they said they were going to start serving food, and you start getting worried, is it going to dry out? Is it going to be ready? pork shoulder holds really well and it heats back up very well. So you can always put it under the broiler and char it up for a different little texture and feel, and so on, or just, you know, leave it whole and pull it when you get to the party. That's usually what I'll do. I'll pull it when I get there, wherever I'm at. You know, I'll just take my claws, take an extra pan, and do so. So when you leave it together, keep all the juices intact, keep all the flavors in there, and no worries about drying out. But as you can see, I mean, this has been sitting for almost 2 to 3 hours, and it's still super juicy, super tender, and I haven't even heated it back up or anything. So let's get some of this slaw on there. Top off these nice little sliders. Like that. A little bit of everything. Pop that bad boy right on top there. Oh yeah. Perfect little coleslaw to top off the sliders. This is great for any event, any get together, or just for yourself. Pulled pork sliders. Very tasty. Very flavorful. This slaw is just super refreshing. I had a taste right now before we got back on camera, and it's just got a lot of flavor in here, man. It's just, it's really the star of the show, to be honest with you. This is just going to take this sandwich from 100 to 120, especially with the nice buttery brioche buns. And there you have it. Ooh, your pork sliders. I mean, these look delicious. I mean, you can eat these on anything. I mean, this is just, it's just beautiful. So back, and we are making one of my favorite dishes. It is really nostalgic for me. My childhood is Mexican street corn. So what we have here is about 7 ears of corn, husked, cleaned, ready to get on the grill. The corn only takes about 5 to 8 minutes if you're at 300, 350. You want to check it. You want to get a nice char, nice flavor on this corn. But where the magic is at is the sauce that you actually put on top of it. So we're going to go ahead and mix that up. We'll get the corn on the grill and mix up this magic mayonnaise sour cream mixture. Here we go. So you got about a half cup of Mexican sour cream. Like I said, it's just Mexican crema. It's just a little bit more liquidy. It's not as thick as regular sour cream, which you can use as well. Half cup of mayonnaise. Regular mayonnaise, not Miracle Whip. It'll change the flavor up completely. A pinch of salt. That's more like 2 pinches of salt. We're going to go with a little bit of lime here. We'll do about half a lime. Half the juice of a lime. And then we're going to go ahead and add this cojita cheese. It's a Mexican cheese. We'll just add it to the mixture. We actually add it on top of the mixture as well, but I like to add it to the mixture to thicken it up a little bit since it's a little loose from the Mexican crema and the lime juice. So we'll reserve the rest. This will sprinkle on top of the corn. And I'm also going to add just a tad bit of ancho chili pepper. It's got a nice little flavor. It's one of my favorite peppers, and it's not too spicy in the powder form. So we'll go ahead and mix this up. All right, this looks good. And that's it. The sauce for the corn is done. This is what we'll be putting on the corn after it's cooked. So let's take the corn and put it on the grill. Like I said, it should only take 5 to 8 minutes to cook the corn. We'll bring it back in here and we'll show you how we prepare it. You know, we'll rub it in some butter, put the sauce on there, sprinkle some cheese, cilantro, and your choice of hot sauce. We'll see you back here in a minute. All right, so we got our corn off the grill and we're ready to put together our Mexican street corn. So we'll go one by one here. We'll take the ear of corn. And what I like to do is I like to roll it in a stick of butter here. Get it nice and buttery. There we go. And then we'll take our mayo and sour cream cheese mixture here and start spreading that on there just like this. Oh yeah, this looks good. All right, let's get that on there. Boom, 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 boom. All right, once you got the crema mixture here, we're gonna go ahead and start sprinkling on the cheese for some more cheese here. Woo. All right, plate this bad boy right here. Boom, a little bit more cheese because I like a lot of cheese on there. Now, we like it on the cob. My kids like to eat it on the cob, but you can definitely cut it off the cob and make this in a bowl. You have your crema, sprinkle a little lime on top. And I like a little spice, so I put a little cayenne pepper. And you know what else? I forgot. So a little bit of cilantro, just to garnish. There we go. And there is your Mexican street corn. That's all there is to it. Very easy, very tasty, very flavorful. All right, everyone. We got this cobbler off the smoker. It took about 55 minutes, but it is done. And can I tell you, if I can sell smells, I'd be a millionaire because this is amazing. Like, what I was looking for is just a nice amount of brownness all around here. Knowing that it was done. This top, you can hear, nice. You can hear that top. It's ready to go. That cobbler is ready to go. It's ready to eat. I can't wait to dig into this. Oh, those apples are done. They're tender. Oh man, it's gonna be hot, but you know, I gotta show you guys what it tastes like. Oh, you can hear that sizzle up the side. Oh man, yeah, that smells great. Let's go ahead and get some of that brownness on the edge. All right, let's get that in there. Go ahead and put a dollop of little vanilla ice cream here. Cool it down, that way I don't burn my mouth. Oh, look at that. That looks delicious. Let me go ahead and get this pot out of the way before I burn myself. It's very hot, fresh off the smoker. Oh man, let me just go ahead and let me dig into this. This looks delicious. I'm gonna burn myself, but it's all for you guys. Oh, get a little bit of everything here. Apple, ice cream. Oh man. Oh my God, that's so good. The apples are falling apart. Crumble's crispy. You can taste that Mexican vanilla in there. The little bit that we put. Oh my God, that's really good. Woo, hot. All right, y'all. I wanted to show you guys this, how easy it is to make a dessert on the Traeger. I don't want to continue eating in front of you guys because, man, this is about to be amazing. We had our pulled pork sliders with the Jicama Slaw. We got our Mexican street corn, and we have our apple cobbler with ice cream. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Hope you guys try this at home. You know, when we're barbecue, where there's a barbecue, there's family around. And I want you guys to know that you're family. So go ahead and hit subscribe below. We'll have some more content, some more episodes for you. And let us know what you guys want to see, what you guys want to hear. Any questions, comments, leave them below. We'll try to answer them for you and help you guys along this journey. So y'all have a blessed day and have a good one. Thank you for tuning in. See ya.